Good morning. Rebecca Nichols here. This is my podcast show, It's good morning here in London, wherever you may be in the world. Good evening. Good afternoon. Yeah, wherever you may be. Of course, it's you could be anywhere and everywhere. And that's where we are. That's oneness. On the show, I talk about many things, but as you know, I consider myself a spiritual teacher, a spiritual truth. Just trying to steer away from the whole politics that can get involved in this community as well. But, just trying to share some wisdom over things I've experienced over the years and things that have happened and how I've dealt with certain situations and how I've overcome and how that we can overcome anything. This is what's possible. And leading really nicely into what I want to talk to you guys about today. And, something that I've been really dealing with, my own ego, getting in my own way. When it comes to my business, or when it comes to my home, or when it comes to whatever, my relationships, where am I really getting in my own way? Where am I limiting myself? Where am I being stubborn? Where is it being insidious? Getting in the way of my career or stopping me from showing up, or am I still playing small? And I sent out a newsletter today to all the women in my community who subscribe to my weekly newsletter, which even over the past year it's just been back and forth, a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's not because I don't believe in what I do, and we've always got an excuse as to why we can't do stuff, or maybe it's timing, or I don't feel very ready, not yet. This is the thing. There's people out there in the world who are doing really, really well for themselves. And we have this possibility to do really well for ourselves and to be successful. And it's not necessarily about having a huge amount of money. It's just, waking up every day with a feeling of, this feels good. Or I really like doing this. And here's the thing, because I love sharing wisdom and, stories and insights, and really helping people, with their perception and understand what life is. And, how environment is we're learning now more than ever how environment is so important. And if we can relate that to Reiki, and what I know as a master teacher is that, when we're working on the cells and we're working on hormones, and, we look at Reiki, it works on the endocrine system. And so the endocrine system is really responsible for your hormones and stress and cortisol and things like that. And we're learning more and more about the dangers of stress in the body. A little bit of stress is maybe okay and, normal in life situations. But, if we encounter stress and we don't deal with the trauma from that stress, we don't go get help or talk to someone about it or get counselling, if we suppress that, and then that stays within our subconscious for a very long time, we don't really heal from that. And so we have all these triggers that come up, and then we still feel like as if the event is happening again, and that's you imagine going through your whole life of trauma, because actually once you get into that trauma mindset, oh, poor me, and my life's all about trauma, it starts to attract that, and so it's a really difficult cycle to break. And one thing that really does stop us from getting our healing is the ego in so many ways, because you know what? If we were willing to share our stories, all our stories, including our shame stories, and be that little bit more vulnerable, the world would be a little bit more a better place to be, and a bit more safer. We'd understand that we all experience these things, and this is part and parcel of it. And we'd definitely support and encourage each other more through the healing process. Talk to people about their healing. Talk to them how they can be healed. Some of us are these damaged, wounded children in these adult bodies, and I can speak from experience there. And, this is definitely a topic that I don't think I'm going to be able to cover in this podcast on really in depth. It's just something that I wanted to touch on. And tell you the importance of going back and looking at your childhood and understanding where those stories of struggle have come from, where you've been disempowered in so many ways, and how you can get out of your own way to facilitate healing within yourself. You know, for me, it's about cultivating space. It's about transformation and change. It's not about me. And that's the point of what I'm saying, you know. The ego is going to make it about you. Oh, look at me. And I've got this amount of money and I've got this amount of clients, or I want to have, or that's what I want to have, you know, and you're aspiring for that. And that's really okay as well. I want you to know that you deserve all that, and that's for you. And that's what I think I love about the book that I'm about to share with you today. And so I'm going to be led a little bit by spirit now. And this is one of the reasons why I feel more at ease in the work that I do more than ever. Because I understand if I get out of my own way and I just listen to spirit, the spirit that has been communicating with me my whole entire life, that a lot of the time I will suppress or ignore. If I get out of my own way, listen to spirit, and that's intuition, you will live a really good life. A really good life. It's very possible. And so I'm just going to pick a page from the book, 10 Messages Your Angels Want You to Know. And I just want to be channeled right now in many ways. I'm just going to open the book and pick randomly a page, and it will be exactly what we need to hear today, the message of the day, in many ways, in about how our angels are really here to support us and guide us, and always there for us. And once you're in receiving mode and you're not trying to figure it out, and your ego's not telling you, oh, it's got to be this way, that way, you're not telling God how you want your prayers to be answered, then there's a significant amount of power that can be at play in your life. Okay, so here we go. I can hear ocean in the background. She's stirring, so I don't know how if I will actually get through this. I'd like to be able to reach you today. It's going to be amazing because it's going to help me out my throat chakra. And so we will read together chapter 3 of the book. Well, I will read and you will listen. This is really good for your throat chakra too. It's really good to listen. Awakening Together. A message about your relationships. So, within a relationship, the choices are the same as with your relationship with yourself. The path of fear or love. Two people may be walking upon the path of fear together, seemingly for the purpose of protecting each other and jointly finding happiness in a fearful world. However, whenever one or more people walk in fear, the experience always results in fear. This is when an inconsistent roller coaster of dramatic emotions ensues within the relationship. There may be a sense that you'll be happier if you leave this person's side. Yet, if you're then walking upon the path of fear alone, you're still on the pathway of fear, with all its unpleasant consequences. You might find a new person to walk with upon this path of fear with the same unsatisfying outcome. It's quite funny when you really think about it. We're so funny. So, whether you have a nightmare alone or sleeping next to someone who's also nightmaring, the results are equally terrifying. And yes, when you awaken, the other person's holding you comfortingly, there is a temporary relief from fear. The cessation of fear and the feeling of love is the real and true awakening. The paths of love and fear have no intersections, common grounds, or meeting places. They are entirely different vibrations, like the band of purple on the rainbow, running parallel to the band of red. There is no treading in a transitional zone blending the two. You are either on the path of love or on the path of fear. Just like when you're sleeping, you can be on the pathway of fear and then awaken upon the pathway of love For most humans, there's a jolting roller coaster of bouncing between both pathways. This creates an unsettling sense of instability and confusion. You cannot be upon both paths simultaneously. Either you are awake on your true reality of living cozily and comfortably within God, or you're asleep to this reality and forgotten who you are, where you came from, and where you are now. What you are seeking in your relationships is a merging and sense of oneness, which can only be experienced when two people walk upon the pathway of love together. To do so requires a great deal of awareness and self-honesty, which is why you care enough to learn about these truths. We shall now explore the detour most often keeping humans asleep and upon the pathway of fear. The detour of boredom. The overriding dream desire of one who is asleep is to awaken from the nightmare of feeling separated from Source God, Creator. How to awaken is the process in which there are free will choices to be made. The sense of boredom is a restlessness of feeling unhappy with your current scenario. It's like watching television with a remote control, perpetually changing the channels. Always seeking the right scene to which you feel entirely connected. Someone or something that entertains, uplifts and validates you. The desire for something better would be fine if it were a love-based intention to help others or to supply yourself with the means to meet your needs. The trouble with boredom is that it presents endless mountains to climb. When you reach the peak of one, you see 1,000 more before you. This elicits a deep-seated feeling of futility and what's the use? A jaded approach to life. These are the underlying processes, usually unconscious, behind the existential drive to find meaning. When humans strive to answer the questions, why am I here? And what is my purpose? They are really expressing dissatisfaction with their true spiritual state of being a beloved child of God, resting within God's mind and heart. Restlessness and boredom are desires for something to fill the emptiness and bring peace, happiness and a sense of meaning. There's a frantic reach for something or somebody, just as some magical food, substance, activity or relationship to fill the spaces and lead to wholeness. Anything to temporarily dull the sense of painful separation. It is the futile search for the key to happiness. When you feel hungry for something to make you feel better, this is a sure sign of being upon the pathway of fear. With true physical or emotional hunger arising from normal human needs, there is a smoothly divine process of creating and attracting fulfillment. This differs sharply from the broad shotgun approach to finding whatever will momentarily satiate. I think that's right. Satiate. I'm going to look that word up. Satiate. I've never heard of that one before. I'm not ashamed to know I don't know that word. It's a very interesting word, satiate. But I'm looking that up for you guys. Okay, in relationships, this process is demonstrated as a coming together to mutually seek out the key. The unconscious agreement is for each person to entertain the other to assuage boredom. Yet how is this possible when neither person lacks for meaning or excitement in spiritual truth? Please contemplate this truth. You and every person you have ever met and will ever meet are the same out picturing of God's complete and pure love. Every physical, emotional, or mental need is instantly fulfilled. So in spiritual truth, boredom and restlessness are impossible. The search for the next greatest thing or person is the same drive invoking the dream of fear and the ego in the first place. Like a perpetually looping movie with the same plot, the ego's sense of reality is based upon insatiable desire for its own definition of perfection. The ego rejects God's gift of divine perfection in favour of a do-it-yourself, laborious approach to perfection. Relationships are often the ego's way of alleviating boredom and looking for an avenue to fulfill its endless needs for validation and gratification. These fearful pathways of togetherness are what you would term toxic or dysfunctional relationships. They begin in a quest that cannot be fulfilled to find heaven externally and end with an equally unfulfilling crescendo of drama, suffering and misery. When a relationship begins with an empty premise of please save me from this separation condition of loneliness, boredom, danger or any form of lack, then it forms upon a bumpy and rocky pathway of fear. Yet, please do not misunderstand our overview of relationships, as true partnership can be an avenue when you just rediscover God and heaven within him. So, just thinking about that, when we're going into a relationship and we're not completely whole ourselves, we're not completely aligned with our higher self, with God, with our purpose, with being who we are, we're going to go into that relationship trying to seek something in that relationship, or trying to have some fulfillment, or kind of like, I need you to complete me. Look, since Tom Cruise got in that film, what was it called? Joe Maguire, and he said those words, you complete me. We've all gone through our whole lives thinking that, oh my God, we need someone to complete us. Yes, of course. We're incomplete. How tragic. We've come to this planet, not even whole beings. But it's just pathetic, right? Because, of course you're whole. Of course you're everything that is. You were born complete and enough and perfect in his image. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with you. And it's social conditioning, cultural conditioning, patriarchy, God knows what else, media, everything. The whole coup. And it's keeping us limited and small, and it's stopping us from getting healed. And we've got to get out now of this trap, this ego traps. Really big time. It's not going to serve you, and it's not going to serve the people that you need to serve. It's just not going to get us anywhere, especially if you're in the spiritual community. More so if you're in the spiritual community. You start judging other spiritual teachers. It's a rocky road. A bit rocky, bumpy road on the pathway to fear. So I'm going to read about the search for validation. And it's so funny because this is page 33, and it's 33, magic numbers. We know about 33. There's only a couple of pages left and we're on the next chapter. So I just want to finish off. This book is amazing, people. Please get it. You'll find a little bit more info over on my Instagram about that. I'm going to start posting all my favourite books that I like to read, and books that I have read, and some books that I want to read even. Are you forever just kind of like, gotta read this, gotta read that? And but there comes a time where you've got to stop learning and reading. Like there's no more information for you. You've already got it all. And if you're at that place where you really feel like, you know what, I know a lot, and I need to somehow get all this knowledge out into the world and share it with the world and show people how powerful I am. Now is not the time to play small if you're a spiritual teacher or a counsellor or a healer or a coach. Or maybe you're listening to this and you're thinking, but I've got a calling for that. Yeah, I really feel that this is what I want to do with my life. I really want to spread light, create a tribe of my own, whatever. You guys have been on this journey with me, come up for 3 years in January, when Queen of My Life was nothing but a dream, and still is, living it, and came up with an idea to empower women. It was just the beginning of the movement of female empowerment coming back with a bang, and not just, saying, we're not going anywhere. And now we're really making some noise. And now we have social media, and we're coming together collectively to make a lot of noise, because it's time as us women, queens, goddesses, to rise. With books like Rebecca Campbell and Rise Sister Rise, Lisa Lister, my darling Lisa, who's just a fabulous witch, of course, and her book Witch, which I've spoke about on the show, and how we manifest magic, and just from everything. There's so many amazing people. Mel Wells, who's doing brilliantly on The Goddess Revolution and Hungry for More, her book. And really just killing it. And young women as well. There's a lot of young women coming through, younger than me. And so what? Here's the thing, I was having a conversation the other day about with another lady, a coach, and she was saying, I really admire the fact there's you and a few other people that I follow younger than me, and they're really doing it, and it's kind of inspired me to come on, get out of my own way here. Really admired that, because sometimes maybe you're a little bit older, maybe you're older than me, and you feel like, oh, you know what, it's too late for me now, I don't think I've got it anymore, or I don't think I can start it. You've got a gift, you've got a talent, you see, and you might be in the same field as me, and you might be a healer or whatever. It's really important that you just do get out of your own way, because if you are a healer and a coach and a light worker and you do this work, you're here to do great big things, and stop playing small and stop comparing yourself to other people. It's never too late to dream a new dream, or obtain a new goal. Dr. Seuss, come on. We all love a bit Dr. Seuss. Okay, so let me get on, because I know Ocean's going to wake up in a minute, and time is limited for me these days, and I've been talking to you for 21. I love that synchronicity. Right, the search for validation. So if this is this is nearly a couple of pages left, so not long now. If all you've known in your physical life is guilt and feelings of unworthiness, then you were born and raised upon the pathway of fear. You literally have amnesia about your divine origin, and are living within the nightmarish reality of competing to get your needs met. See that? I'm literally just said and spoke about competition and everything. It's a crazy world we're living in, where we all think we have to compete against each other, and I've had conversations with teachers and stuff like that. I don't want to come off. I don't want to run off on a tangent here and start talking about other things, but just to say that we are born into a society that's all from very young age is teaching us to compete against each other. Just think about it. Okay, so within every person who treads upon the pathway of fear, there's a beckoning melody in the far reaches of their soul, calling them to return to their heavenly home. Some mistake this as a desire for death, believing that peace is only possible once the physical body ceases to function. Yet for the person whose consciousness is focused upon fear, even physical death does not bring relief. Can you imagine? I don't know, you're dead and you're still living in fear. How crazy. But anyway, validation is the unconscious desire to be reminded of who you really are. It is expressed in the physical world as desires for approval, rewards, promotions, applause, and other benchmarks that give you a sense of being better than, or at least as good as, other people. Within relationships, the desire for validation is expressed as exchanging compliments with one another. The ultimate reward within a relationship is the verbal and physical expression of mutual love, often accompanied by a ceremony to celebrate this love publicly. Yet if two people can mirror true love to one another, then they awaken together to their divine reality of being one in God's love. They remain that they are really back home in heaven together with God's embrace. This is the genuine and lasting reward and the real purpose of relationships. Those who take actions to remember God's love are most likely to awaken themselves to their true reality and true love. When two or more people jointly focus upon remembering their true spiritual identities, they can help awaken one another to the reality of true love. Many relationships waver between glimpses of true love and love, espoused by the pathway of fear. So like a casino slot machine that occasionally pays out a large sum, the relationship holds the promise of a return to that pure love, which is attempted through various means, some fear-based and some love-based. For example, if someone criticises you, that's the ego doing the judging, because only ego judges. That means the other person isn't happy. No one centred on the ego's perceptions is happy. Have compassion for them and don't judge them in return for being judgmental, or you'll be unhappy too. Relationships give you the opportunity to find God or experience the opposite pole of cold and lonely separation. We are handing you a healing pair of glasses so that you can see the dazzling brightness of godliness within everyone you meet, including within yourself. This light is so bright that it obliterates any awareness of separated human bodies. Instead of seeing bodily outlines, you see the magnificent glow of God's life force shining back at you. This is the form of mirroring that brings validation for your true self and the experience of lasting satisfaction. A relationship feels best when it's selfless and one partner is not viewed as the vehicle through which the other attains satisfaction. In a selfless relationship, the focus is upon each other's persons being wholly aware of the fullness of God's love and then walking next to each other upon this pathway of love. Perhaps the two partners consciously form a team to help others awaken to their divinity as well. A God team. Of people who awake to their true identity as literally angels in the physical world. Picture a room full of children sleeping upon cots, each shaking from the nightmares they are experiencing, then imagining a few of the children waking up and realising the nightmares weren't real, and then taking the time to gently awaken the other children. This is your role and your purpose within love-based relationships. How you awaken others is the next matter of discourse. And then the next chapter is all about spiritual perfection. So I might read some more from that book at some stage, but obviously do go out and get it, guys. So Doreen Virtue, 10 Messages Your Angels Want You to Know. That book needs to be in the world and spread out far and wide. Just because when we're out of fear and we're out of the ego and we really are allowing God to come into play in so many areas of our lives, wow. Wow. There are miracles that are happening. There are things that are shifting. You cannot see. Yeah, there's one book that I also love is The Game of Life and How to Play It, Florence Scovel Shinn. I listen to a lot of her work on audio and just have it in the house playing, and I think what I'm teaching you is very important in terms of how your subconscious mind works. And if we're absorbing information around who we are, who we want to be, and focusing on those positive things in life, all that we have, all that we are, that we're feeling enough, we have feelings of just being enough as we are without thinking, oh my God, do I need to be this? Do I need to be that? When we're just so in awe of everything and in the moment, and I'm just looking out my window and looking at an awfully beautiful cloud and just staring at the cloud formations and thinking, wow, that's just really, really pretty. And when do we stop to do that? No, because we're so in our minds, we're so in our thoughts, and they're not necessarily our thoughts, but we're bombarded by so much. There's so much that's weighing us down. And if we do change our energy, we do change our lives. And that's why I'm so proud of the work that I do, because it's just so beautiful to see people go from these sort of like timid, shy, reserved, worried, anxious, depressed, sad beings to people that are full of life, full of vitality, full of possibility, and really believing in themselves and their abilities. Tremendous amount of power, yet again, and you can't deny it. I have conversations with people about my life and they're like, it's just your life, it's just so wow, and I think it is very, very wow, and I think life in general is very, very wow. It's just, and let's be enthusiastic, because I think definitely for me this has been the making of me, my career, my everything. Just the enthusiasm I have for people. What was that window? Oh, my bloody window is making a banging noise. I'm scared. I was like, oh my God, where's that come from? I thought someone was trying to break into my house then. It's like, oh my God. Just the love I have for it. And I think you guys know, because I've been on the show with you for a while. I've had to like really evaluate myself since the beginning of the year, and know where I was giving too much, or I wasn't in receiving mode, or what was still weighing me down from my past. I've had to go deep within myself, look at triggers, more triggers, heal the relationship with my mum. And I think, you guys, I've spoke about this a lot, and I want to stress how important those relationships are within our family, and how that determines our path as well. We've really got to work on those relationships. We really want to have those honest conversations with our parents. We want to, bury that stuff in the past, because that's not serving you. You've really got to learn to let it go. We've got to let it go. So powerful when we do. So powerful. So, my new program, Love Conquers All, is coming out. We're starting on the 19th. Enrollment is now open. I'm going to send some information in the details. And if you head over into the Instagram page, then you can find out some more information there as well. The beautiful thing about this program is that I believe that it's going to have the power to transform women in a way that I didn't even think was possible. Like, what is the most loving thing I can do for myself? And do that. And do that more. And do that more. And, when you're so in love with yourself like that, there's so many things that are possible for you. And people just see that. They see that you love yourself, and they want that, And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, if you're teaching love, it's a beautiful thing. And I really want to teach it. And I love teaching it. And so I'm excited to have as many of you on the program. I'm actually only taking 10 women on the program with me. I'm being really ambitious. I want to have like 100 women on the program, to be honest. But, it's a lot of intimate work. It's a lot of deep transformational stuff. It can be quite emotional, the work, especially when you're releasing a lot of trauma, especially if you're still in that space of like, I really don't feel I'm worthy of this, then you need this program. I mean, if you feel like you are, you feel like you want to do well in life, and you feel like you deserve more, but you really just thinking what's limiting you, what's blocking you, what's really getting in your way of being your highest self and living your best life. And only you know. I might even put some makeup on today, guys. I might even surprise you. I'm feeling like the new moon feels have kind of got me feeling like I need to transmute some shit. I need to sort myself out. I need to do this, and I'm in that zone. So, you might be feeling that vibe too. Like, really got to let all this crap go. This is not... that relationship was 4 years ago. That thing happened to me 5 years ago. Oh my God, I was 10 years old. Why does this still bother me? Insane what we continue to carry inside of us. And I really hope you find, and I believe that you can find the strength to let that go and step into your destiny. Okay, guys. Well, look, have a wonderful day wherever you may be. I love the fact that I've just finished this podcast on the 33rd minute. Synchronicity is just kind of like off the chain today. And I was only talking about synchronicity on the blog the other day. And actually, if you want to check out the blog, my latest blog on the website, you'll find out about synchronicity and what it all means. And if you're aligning and you're seeing angel numbers and synchronicities everywhere, then it's a sure sign that you actually are on the right path. Stop resisting. Yeah. Allow God to come into your life. Allow the universe to work its magic. You show up and do what you can do, that you feel to do, that you love to do. And the rest is just, it's magic. Yeah. Love you all, guys. And I will speak to you very, very soon, of course. Take care. Bye.